What's up, YouTube? Welcome back to Two Car, and today we're taking a little field trip. So we're starting today's video on site, aka my driveway, and we're going to get some speakers going in this 2008 Jeep. We're going to start pulling the soundbar out of this thing, and for those of you that don't know how to pull a soundbar out of a Jeep, it's actually really simple. You got these little wing nut looking things that hold the freedom tops on, and I don't know about you guys, but every time I hear freedom tops, I think of some guy in like American flag parachute pants and I'm running in a room yelling freedom. But yeah, these kind of things, they just spin out. They hold your leaky barless T-tops in place. And then there's a series of 6 10 millimeters. And you got two right over here on this side. Two next to your little freedom top wing nuts, and then you got two more on the other side. So we are going to get this thing out, and then we're going back in the garage. Slat wall side project coming along very nicely. But what we're starting with is this guy right here, soundbar. And soundbar's got that little plug that unplugs all the dome lights and the speakers. Jeep has two 6 3/4 inch speakers in the rear soundbar. We're gonna go ahead and tear this guy down. We got T15s holding these speakers in. This is my rear right soundbar speaker. As you guys remember in the last video, we made these adapters to go ahead and adapt that 5 1/4 inch JL to the rear soundbar. So those are gonna go right in place of the factory speaker and screw right into the factory location. And then on top of it, the grill's gonna go back on top. So it's gonna look like a very clean and factory look. Now, one of the things that I did do is I bought these guys. These guys are speaker adapters, so they plug right into the factory harness. And when I want to go ahead and return this vehicle to stock, it's going to be real easy because all I got to do is unplug and plug into the factory speaker. So we're going to be mounting the actual crossover for this 5 1/4 in the soundbar itself. There's plenty of room down here. I got some really strong Velcro, and that will work just perfectly. I'm going to go ahead and put a couple spade connectors on these wires here, hook them up to the inputs. I want to get these soundbar speakers done. As we are progressing, getting these 5 1/4s in the soundbar, bought some speaker gasket tape, which is always important. You can see running around the inside edge of this factory location. If you look at the back of a factory speaker too, they do have speaker gasket tape. Ran some around the 5 1/4, mounted in my adapter. You can see everything's ready to go. Put a little dab of hot glue on there, keeping the wiring for the tweeter going. Got it all wrapped up in some cloth tape. And then my input's ready to go, plugged into the factory wiring harness. So we're going to go ahead and get this thing mounted in here. And I'll show you guys here in a second what it looks like. But before we do that, polyfill. We're going to go ahead and stuff some polyfill in this factory soundbar. Some of you may say, this looks exactly the way it did before you started, Mike. And that's kind of what I wanted to. I don't know if you can see the faint color of that 5 1/4 inch JL audio speaker. But my crossover is right about here. Got this all packed with polyfill. It's going to work out beautifully. So now we're going to work on the other side. and very happy with how it turned out. I love the fact that I was able to go ahead and take this thing, bring it in the house, flip it upside down instead of trying to screw stuff in and build stuff while it's upside down and I'm contortioning myself in the back seat of my Jeep. So we're going to go ahead and get this put back in. I'm going to pull a dash speaker and we're going to talk about those next. So the enclosure's inside right now, and if you guys remember, I said if I could physically fit these ADS tweeters in the cups, I'm going to use them. I'm not 100% happy with that, and I was messing around with my router table, kind of make some rings or something, but I figured I'm going to stop before I lose a finger because I don't know exactly how I want to do that. I know I don't like the way this looks right now, but we got some T15s on this guy, and we're going to pull that out. So I tore down this enclosure and installed my adapter. Ended up adding some speaker gasket tape to the inside of this thing as well. Also drilled a 1/4-inch hole in the backside to run all my tweeter wiring through. Ended up using a speaker adapter just like I did in the rears for inputs on my crossover. Tinned all my wires going into the crossover and then ran a new lead for my woofer. Crossover itself getting velcroed to the bottom side of the enclosure. Now we're going to pack this with some polyfill, use some Home Depot weather stripping around the speaker, and we're done. Passenger side is all done. Driver side is out of the dash. Wow, that thing's a little dusty. But we're going to upgrade this right now. Anybody paying attention that I forgot polyfill? Both my front speakers are done. My adapters fit very well. JL 6.5s are in there. The ADS 236 IS crossovers are roughly right around here. I got some fancy, super fat, strong Velcro holding them in. These guys are stuffed with polyfill. We've got our woofer connector, and then we've got the tweeter connector. So here are the ADS tweeters in these factory pods. Once again, I'm not real happy with these, but I'm going to make some rings. I just don't know if I got time today to be able to do it. These guys are pressure fit in there pretty well. So we're going to run with it. We're going to put these guys back in the Jeep, and let's see how it sounds. So guys, I have to apologize. I bought this fancy tripod selfie stick thing on Amazon to help me do a little bit better videos, but apparently I still don't know how to work it. Because when I was recording the disassembly and the removal of the enclosures out of the dash, I guess I didn't hit record. I was talking. I don't know who was listening, but I was talking. And I went back to edit my video, and there was nothing there. So Jeep's in the garage right now. I'm going to show you the reverse order of putting these enclosures in the dash. And I'm going to show you a couple of the changes I made on what I'm doing here. So here is the passenger side enclosure before it's going back in the dash. One of the biggest changes I made is these guys. I actually found some foam, and it's going to fit right on here, and it's going to work a lot better than the window sealant from Home Depot. The other change I made was to my tweeters. If you guys remember, I did not like the way these ADS tweeters looked in here. They fit in there. They worked pretty well. I just didn't like it because I was going to have to make a ring or do something along those lines. And unfortunately, I didn't want to lose a finger trying to make a ring on these guys. So I switched over to the JL tweeters, and the JL tweeters fit in these pods a lot nicer. I did have to file out some stuff here, but it's not going to prohibit me from putting my factory tweeters back in when I want to go ahead and put these things to put it back to stock. However, a lot more aesthetically pleasing. JL tweeters, I love the way these tweeters sound, but I will be switching over my tweeter brightness on the crossover to mid. Probably going to have to change it at some point in time when I get the amp in there. And then we'll go ahead and put this guy in. If you guys remember, I got my input and then the tweeter with the disconnect on it. So let me get this all back together. I'm going to get the new foam put on there, and then we'll go ahead and put this guy in the dash. Since the Jeep's in the garage now, because, you know, it's freaking cold in Illinois, tweeter is in the dash, and you can see how well that JL tweeter fits in this. And I got a little adjustability with it, you know, if I want to go down or up with it. But I'm happy with the way that looks. I'm very happy with the way that looks. If we look at it over on the driver's side, looks just as good. So let's get these dash speakers back in. This time I actually remembered to hit record. So on the passenger side speaker, you got to basically move your glove box out of the way. And there's a couple of these little pins here on the side. Just squeeze it, pull it out, and then it unhooks from the bottom. I've got a USB, so I just set it on my center console. Now, there is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7 millimeters. Whole dash pulls away. As far as the speaker goes, there's only 3 screws actually holding them in. One here, which you get right on the side over here. And then you got 1/8 millimeter down here. Grab yourself one of these little plastic pry tools. You can pull this bottom piece off, pull the side piece off, and you're good to go. Now, to get this guy back in, very simple on the passenger side. All you got to do, slide it through the giant opening where your glove box used to be. And there you go. Now, you can go ahead and plug in your speakers and then screw your speaker in. All back together, boys and girls. You can see how well that foam is going to work better than the Home Depot window sealant. Let's do the driver's side. So on to the driver's side. Now, the driver's side is definitely a little bit more challenging, but you still have some similarities. You still got your screw down here in the corner. You still got 1, 2, 3, 4, 7 millimeters holding this dash pad on. The speaker still has the same 3 screws, the 8 millimeter and the 2 7 millimeters on the side. Under dash panel, side panel, still pop off the exact same way. Now, if we look at what's different on the driver's side is there's a couple little screws right here, and then this panel that comes off around your instrument cluster. And then I went ahead and took the 2 screws out of the instrument cluster, because what you need to do is you need to pull this guy back and almost somersault the enclosure out of the dashboard. Before you start somersaulting this thing up into the dash, it's a good idea to plug your speakers in. And it may not be a bad idea to test everything, because although it's not as hard as a lot of people say, it's not that bad to do. Oh, my foam fell off. Driver's side is all back together. Side panel back on, all my dash pieces back on. Probably did not have to unbolt the instrument cluster, but it made it a little easier when I was pulling that dash back. That foam works so much better than the Home Depot window sealant. Guys and gals, thank you so much for hanging out with me. As always, please hit that like button, subscribe button, or ask a question in the comments. I'd love to hear from you. Next video, I'm probably going to be doing some wiring on this thing. However, I got to figure out where I'm going to put this amplifier. Driver and passenger side front seat, I don't want that thing sticking out into the footwell of the back seat. Back seat folds down way too flat, so originally I thought about putting it under the back seat, but it ain't going to fit. So not sure if I'm going to build something in the cargo area or build something off the back of the seat or on the side. Not 100% sure. Love to hear from you guys, so let me know what you guys think in the comments. Till next time, thank you. You guys are awesome. Enjoy your day.